Hey, we're Zane's Father Chris here. Welcome to our Crucifictional live stream. Glad to have you beautiful people in. I'm going to create another firestorm today. More fun at the Olympics. God, I love France. I've been to France a bunch of times, but man, it's a train wreck this year. As you may or may not know, in the Olympic event of women's boxing, there is a new scandal. An Italian boxer, woman, was boxing a Algerian boxer. Algiers, right? Algerian boxer who happens to be a dude. It's a struggle in that person's life. Clearly, confusion and so on. Is a transgender. I don't know how to say it. He's a man who wants to be a woman, so he's a transgender woman. Is that right? Is that how that works? Or he's a transgender man? I'm not making fun. I don't know how it works, but the idea is that biologically he's a dude. I mean, he got kicked out of a world, boxing tournament last year because they test them and his testosterone was too high. So I mean, it's I'm not making fun. So it's biologically a man, and who is in women's boxing, and punched the Italian boxer so hard that she literally quit. Just laid down and died, basically. Like said, I'm out. This is not. And she said in the interview, the post-fight interviews, like, this is it's unjust, I think was the words that she used, because she says, I've been hit a lot, and I've never been hit like that. And you may say, like, oh, she's a woman, too soft, whatever. But look, these are pro athletes, man. I mean, I know they're Olympics, but this woman from Italy, I'm sure didn't just wake up on Tuesday and say, I'm going to box on Wednesday. I mean, right? Like, she's a tough woman, has been in boxing matches before, fighting for her country, the training. I mean, like, this is it's not like me getting in there, getting hit. Like, this is someone who's working for it, right? And training. And just was like, this is not right. And I think the problem that I want to explore today, and I'm sure we're going to get all the hate quotes and comments, racist, whatever, transgenderist, whatever. Okay, say what you need to say. But the truth of the matter is that because someone wants something or feels a certain way, doesn't mean that we should submit to that, right? Like, it's a dude, and he punched a girl in the face, right? And she like crumbled. I mean, it's so clear. It's self-evident. And yet we find ourselves in this weird place where we allow it. It made me think of like my kids as they were growing up. When they were children, I was the same way. You were the same way. We wanted things. I want ice cream, right? Before dinner, or I want this, or, all that stuff where we would have to say, no, like we don't do that, but I want it, right? I'm sure you've experienced that, especially if you're a parent, you've experienced it, or maybe in the midst of experiencing it where like, I want it because I want it. And we know that what's best for people, our kids in particular, we don't give it to them just because they want it. We have to be wise about it and teach them and grow them so that when they become, adults, they're not just jumping on all of their whims based on emotions and feelings. Now, to go back to that boxer from Algeria, I am not letting, I'm not dismissing the fact that person must obviously have some turmoil and some, struggles. And there is a side of compassion that we must have to that as well in order to help guide and heal people. I mean, I am not mocking it, but just because someone feels it doesn't mean we give it. And like, that's why I use that image of the kids. Like my kid, wants to put her hand in the hot stove when she's 4 years old. I don't let her do that because I know what's going to happen. Well, I want to see what's going to happen if I touch it. No, right? And so as children are being raised, if you will, by us as warrior saints, we guide and teach and help them understand. Paul tells us this. I mean, like you know it. He uses the image of child and adult to make his case in 1 Corinthians about the gospel. He says, look, in chapter 13, when I was a child, I spoke like a child. And I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, and Greek anir, man, meaning an adult man, I gave up childishness, childish ways. The word is actually, the Greek's interesting. I gave up child, right? Like, so in other words, we translate as childish ways. That's how it's translated. But the idea that Paul just says, when I was a child, I thought, reasoned, spoke like a child. But when I became a man, I just gave up child. Right? Like the idea is that as we mature, particularly as warrior saints, maturing in Christ, becoming full men and women, we've got to recognize we don't always get what we want just because, we want it, right? What's good? What will produce fruit? What is going to take us in directions that are healthy for body, mind, and soul? Like, I mean, we can't just jump at our whims. I mean, you know this, and yet it's a weird place that we've been where we've just fallen into, let everybody do whatever they want, even if it's to their own destruction and their own suffering, right? Like it's a weird place to be. I mean, Greg's nodding at me. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, what else is there to even say about this? I don't even know. What do you think?
As a warrior saint, we overcome it.
Yeah, he's right. I don't know if you heard that, but as a warrior saint, our fight is to overcome that. And sorry, and you meant what? Like in our own lives or?
In our own lives, so that we understand how to teach that to others, how to share that with others, and how to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know if you could hear that, but he said, we, as warrior saints, we overcome that in our own lives so we can teach and share that with other people. So there are things that I want, that are maybe good, and we try to pursue them. And then, of course, there are things that I want that are not necessarily even wicked or evil, but just are not for the ultimate benefit. And so the benefit of, teaching and the world and people and myself, my family, my wife, my kids. I mean, so we don't pursue that stuff. And yet those things are tempting, right? Those are the more difficult fight because I want it, I got to have it, and I got to, it's like satiate my, carnal desires, all that kind of stuff. And that's where the battle lies. That's where we must fight and try to overcome that stuff. And as warrior saints, we're grinding to do that very thing so that we can share it. And that's something too that, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there for everybody. Like, look, it's okay to want things, and it's okay to want them just because you want them. But are they good? Are they going to do good for you? Are they going to do good for the world? In the case of the Olympic boxer, I mean, obviously, like I was thinking about it. Sorry, I got off topic here, but like that poor woman boxer from Italy has been training and I don't know if she's good or not and had a shot at a medal or not, but she wanted it. And she just fell on the floor and cried because she's like, this has all been taken away from me, my shot, because of this inequity between me and this other man from Algiers, transgender woman, like it's been taken away from me because, they submitted and gave someone what they wanted, which is funny thing. Anyways, that's another topic. We'll talk about that tomorrow before I get off topic. Anyways, you can see it. And I felt for her because somebody else's want, somebody else's desire led to, really robbing that person of an opportunity. Anyways, it's a sad thing. So I'm going to stop rambling today and say this, warrior saints, you and I, look, you're not going to hear me be telling you to judge other people. We all have our battles. We're all fighting monsters, right? Each and every one of us. I have my own. You have yours. The two boxers from Italy and Algiers have their own. Those are their fights. We just want to say, like, look, what's good for you in your fight is not just to do whatever you want. You got to struggle and grind, and you've got to be what we always say, crucifixional. I mean, that's the new thing, if you will, that we're trying to put out there. It's like you don't just satiate those desires. You have to fight and grind and even sometimes struggle and suffer through whatever it is you're fighting in order to overcome it. Anyways, all right, enough rambling. Father Chris is done rambling at you for the day, but I do love you people. We're going to be back tomorrow to wrap up the week, and we hope you join us. Do the stuff, share us, like us, ring the bells, all that good stuff. You know what else is cool? If in the description you see we have a link tree, we've got some stuff out there that you can download, just whatever. You click the link tree, you'll see it. But stuff on Adam and Christ, the two juxtaposed, and we have something on names, because names in the Bible are really interesting. They're not just John and Sally Doe. I mean, they have meaning. It's really fascinating. So you can click the link tree, check that stuff out, and we'll email it to you. Or, I think we email it to you. Whatever it works. Get it. Love you. We'll be back tomorrow. As always, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.